All right, good morning and welcome to the 360 Sports Show here on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Twitch. Thank you for finding us. We are live every Sunday, generally at 11 a.m. A little late here today. We'll get into that in a moment, but generally at 11 a.m. we are live every Sunday for a full show where we discuss everything from league-wide and local news and sports. You can email the show at the360sportshow@gmail.com. You can also comment on any of the streams. Again, we're live on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Twitch, so you can comment on any of those platforms. And you may also, if you can't catch us live, if you'd like to follow and subscribe on any of those platforms, you can go back and watch any episode of the show. And you can also subscribe to the 360 Sports Show podcast through Sounder FM or your favorite podcasting platform. I'm Randy Pizzelli. Good morning, everybody. A little late today here on the program because we had an earthquake this morning. I don't know who had that on their 2020 bingo card, so I'm going to check in first with Christian Lauber, who was safely inland. We had a little bit of we're a little bit cautious here, right on the water. Christian, could you feel the earth move under your feet?
Yeah, I thought it was just, I was around like getting up breakfast time, so I thought I was just like hungry, but I was in the closet just looking to put on a sweatshirt, and then the whole thing started shaking. I look outside, there's no wind out there, so I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I guess that's what we're doing today. I don't know. It's something new every day.
We were just getting up, and I thought it was the same deal, the wind, because the apartment will creak sometimes. We're right on the water.
Mm-hmm.
We like last weekend when we had that big like gale warning, really windy, like for a couple of straight days. The apartment will creak, and it was. But I heard like a low. It was just, they say you'll hear like a low roar, and then the shaking, and it lasted for like maybe only 5 seconds. But for those 5 seconds, that feels like forever, because you're like, oh, this is happening. This is happening right now. And at first you're like, is it just me? And I'm thinking like, there's some construction going on. Did they like not let anybody know they're detonating something? They're blasting into the ground. But then we come out and all our neighbors are like, you feel that? Yeah, you feel that? You feel that? And then you start getting texts and calls. People like, you feel that? You feel that? You feel that? We're like, oh, I guess, yeah, like you said, I guess. I mean, I immediately ran to the window. I've been joking for a while that Cthulhu was going to come out of the ocean, sometime in November, December. That was going to be our boss for this month. I guess not. Luckily, that's not happening, which is a good thing, I guess. So yeah, that is why we're doing the show. We're starting here at 11:30 here on November 8th. Is that what day it is now? Yeah, November 8th, because all the days have blurred together. It just feels like it's been November 3rd for maybe 5 straight days. All of us waiting on election things, which we thought would be the biggest news this morning. But it's not. It's the fact that we had an earthquake here in Rhode Island, of all places. So, yeah. Without further ado, I guess we will move on to actual sports content, even though that's far from the headlines right now. I want to start, Christian. First, actually, you have to give us how many days left in 2020. How many more days left in this godforsaken year do we have?
53 days. So we're one more week, we're under 50. But I mean, hey, it's like every other week, it's like, oh, we have an earthquake now. Like, let's just preface this by saying it's the East Coast, right? We don't get these very often. So when we feel the house shake, it's like, oh, is there a dump truck out there? Like, what's going on? FedEx, maybe? West Coast, they're like, oh, yeah, earthquake, no problem. Oh, yeah. Here, it's like, it's like a unicorn. You just never see it. You know what I mean? So
Unbelievable. What will they think of next? Yeah. I don't want to know. Somebody, I saw the meme that it was like an angel talking with God, and God's like, so did you set up all the events for the 20s? Like, you mean 2020? Like, no, you put all of that in 1 year? Like, oh no. Like somebody knocked over the vat of world events into 1 year. So anyways, we will now get to the sports content here. So like I said at the top, we're live every Sunday, 11 a.m. to roughly 1 p.m. Local league-wide stories in sports. You can email the show at the360sportshow@gmail.com if you have questions, comments, concerns, general complaining. And you can also comment on all of the live streams. And you can go subscribe to the podcast through Sounder FM or your favorite podcasting platform to take the show to go, so to speak, and catch us after the fact. So let's start first with the NFL. They came out last week and basically kind of had like an emergency session to discuss what would happen, because we've been talking for a while, Christian, about the more and more games you cancel, you can't kind of start the musical chairs game with the schedule can't be kept up, and you either have to add weeks or something else. I don't know what's going to give, and I guess they've decided instead of having weeks 18 and 19, if they have to start canceling games, which we'll get into whether or not that's going to happen, they've just said we'll just add an extra playoff team. No buys, seed it 1 through 8,
Yeah.
16 team playoff, and away we go. Which I think honestly is smart because they're probably going to have to cancel games again at some point, given the way things are going. And what's going to get better ratings? The 8 seed playing the 1 seed, or week 19 action of Jets Colts to find out if the Colts get a final playoffs. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
feel
No
like
brainer.
I feel like playoff games, even if it's between crappy teams, people are going to tune in and watch. So, your thoughts first on the news that they're going to potentially expand the playoff field.
Yeah, I think it's fine, honestly. Like I'm not opposed to it. I think at this point, why not? I mean, you're in a weird year as it is, right? So you had to move games around. I mean, we're hearing that people don't like Belichick now that his team is losing is saying like, it's COVID is messing with everything, so it doesn't matter. But it's just like one of those years where you have the flexibility for one reason or another to move things around, whether that's add 2 weeks at the end or just increase the playoffs. And why would you not take that opportunity to just make the playoffs longer and more drawn out? I mean, it's kind of compelling if an 8 seed, which I mean, it probably won't happen, but it is the NFL, so it's not like it's where the NBA typically is like, okay, 1 and 2 are in the finals, and then we'll see what happens. It's the NFL, NHL are both any team can really win, so why not give it a shot?
Yeah. I think what's going to be interesting is to see the teams that are affected. So we've been talking for a while about like a team like the Patriots. If Cam Newton continues to struggle, if they lose games, at what point do you say, Cam, maybe we don't think you got it. Maybe we're not going to have you be our quarterback next year. We need to know what we have in the other guys.
Yeah.
And I've said right along, their best shot to win this year is with Cam. And it was looking like they lose. They're not. I can't imagine them losing to the Jets. But say they beat the Jets, lose to the Ravens. You're sitting there at 3-6.
Mm.
8-8 isn't gonna make the playoffs right now. Not likely, given you have to at least 9-7. Maybe you're lucky, but you're gonna need 10 wins.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to beat some of those teams that nobody's expecting you to beat right now, that are coming up on the schedule, like the Ravens. The Texans won't be easy for them. So you start thinking like, okay, unless they go 3-0 here in their next 3 games, probably shut Cam down. Unless he's playing great,
Yeah.
in which case, you know what, keep it going. But if he's playing meh, and you're just like, you know what, I think the experiment's over. Now, if they have to cancel games and 8-8 could get you the playoffs, I could conceivably see them just still riding out. Now that time
100%.
frame goes into December now. I don't know if that's a good thing or not for the Patriots because I think I think you kind of know what you have, what Cam's going to be. He's going to be a guy that completes anywhere between 55 to 58% of his passes, maybe 60 on a good day. You know what he can do running the football, but how durable is he going to be? We don't know. So you kind of see what Cam is. Got to find out what you have in Jarrett Stidham, right?
Yeah.
If the division's not in play, if the playoffs are not feasible, at some point you have to say this is a lost season, and we're gonna use the opportunity to find out what we have in some of these other guys.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think the unwillingness to go to Stidham already kind of tells you they don't think he's that great. I don't know what happened between like the off-season hype and everything. You know, maybe it's
I
just
th-
the lack of training camp. But
well, I think it's that
I don't
Stidham
know.
isn't getting any worse on the bench. I think once you bench Cam, that's it. Like the Cam experiment is over. You know what I mean? So I think they
Sure.
probably
Yeah.
want to ride it out as far as they can. Bill probably he always kind of gives deference to veterans. He likes to give guys a chance, and until it's like we have no chance of really winning anything this year, you're not if he's not playing well, and it's like a detriment to the team to have him out there, which it was versus like Denver and
Yeah.
San Francisco.
Well, I
You
mean,
know,
I don't think it's especially for the Patriots. Like, I don't think it's over. They have one of the easier schedules in the latter half here. We all knew, like, look, I wasn't expecting 2-4, 2-5, 3-6, but they have a tougher schedule here in the front half of the schedule. And obviously, we've seen on the field the personnel is not great. I mean, we'll just say it like it is. Like the defensive personnel and the front seven is not really good. So I was expecting more along the lines of maybe like 3-3, 3-4, but I still think there's a chance they can go on a run in the latter half of the year here based on schedule. And especially now, if they're expanding the playoffs like this, there's a chance they just sneak in and maybe they're going, in the right direction and something
yeah,
happens. I don't know. I mean, I don't think
yeah,
this team is not going to win a Super Bowl. I think we're all trying to kid ourselves trying to say they're going to win a Super Bowl. They're not winning a championship,
no,
but there's a chance they can make a little bit of noise and maybe get to the divisional conference championship if they get on a run. I'm still not convinced because I don't think the personnel on the team is nearly good enough to do that.
no.
But
But if they have to cancel games now, let's get into that. Uh, I was stunned that they played the Thursday night football game. Like the NFL has said, like if we have to cancel games, we'll go to this expanded playoff field. It seems like they're still reluctant to want to have to do that because you had cases cropping up on Tuesdays and Wednesday before a game. Logic has told us that you have to isolate all these contacts, which I don't think happened. You know,
yeah,
I didn't hear any reports about they had to isolate a whole bunch of guys. Now there was guys who tested positive, tested negative Wednesday, but generally when that's happened,
mhm,
when they test them again, they test positive, and not what happened. A bunch of guys tested positive on Friday, who had played in the game. So, like, and the NFL, I think, seems to think like, we tested the morning of a game, guys played, they were negative. We test Monday, they're positive, and in their head, it's like, well, the game's already done, so
yeah,
nothing from that game could be impacting anything. We don't know the trickle down of any of it, and it's not necessarily just about. And it seems, luckily, it seemed that it doesn't spread on the field, which is good, or else I think maybe we would have seen a lot more cases. So
yeah.
that's a positive. Um, but if you have teams that have to shut down, like the Titans did for like 3 weeks, that's that alone is going to be bad. If you have outbreaks, if we have another outbreak on a team that screws up like 2 weeks of the schedule, that's it. The schedule is going to get all messed up, gummed up.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling with the number of cases they had this week alone, um, it just feels like it's trending in a bad direction. And, next week is going to be the big thing to see. Games obviously happening today, but like keep your eye on like Wednesday of next week if what happens with some of these teams, if any outbreaks happen, because it
Yeah.
just seems like it's escalating, and we'll find out. That's roughly that timeline of when we'll know one way or another if something's happened.
Well, it's not getting. I mean, it's getting worse everywhere in the country. So that's already not a good precedent. And now, I mean, look, we're not really seeing as of yet that it's spreading from team to team, like you just mentioned. I mean, what they say is right. If you're running by someone on the road, don't yell at them to put on their mask because that quick brush up when you're passing somebody is not really going to do much unless you cough right in their face.
Yeah,
So it's not really spreading team to team, but it's spreading throughout one team on either side of the field. So if you have cases on one side, maybe on the offensive line, defensive line, that interaction is different. But the concern is you have these guys on one team playing with each other, and that incubation is 2 to 5 days, 5 to 7 days, where you're going to find out. Like that just trickles down from 1 week where you might have to cancel, and then it goes into the next week because you have 8 cases crop up, and then it just trickles down, like we saw with the Titans or the Patriots, just like that. But I mean, overall, the NFL is full steam ahead. They're pretending as if nothing's happening. They're isolating the few cases, and then they're playing the games. So I can't say I'm shocked about anything they're doing anymore because I think this whole season so far has just been let's just roll. Like we're gonna do what we do with the Patriots. We'll move some weeks around if we have to, but overall, they're just gonna go ahead. Like there's going to be cases cropping up. They've accepted it. They're going to isolate those cases and play the games.
yeah. On another COVID related note, Trevor Lawrence did not play last night for
Yeah.
Clemson, and what was a fantastic game with Notre Dame, uh, except for at the very end when Notre Dame won in overtime and the entire student population storms the field. Uh, if you want to go, I'll find the picture of this and I'll tweet it out at 360 Sports Show on Twitter. We'll tweet out this image from the game last night. Bad.
How do you think the university's feeling today?
Well, here's what's funny. Uh, their president already caught COVID. I think from Trump. I think that's how they do the contact tracing. They figured out that's how he got it. Um, Not good. I mean,
Yeah.
and I saw a lot of, and we're not going to get into politics, but I saw a lot of people trying to compare. Oh, I see people flooding the streets, to celebrate the election. What's wrong with people coming on the field? Well, two things. One, there's a difference between people celebrating the democratic process in a monumental day in United States history, and for some, a day of quasi liberation.
Yeah.
A meaningful day in their lives, and a college football game. No offense, right?
Yeah.
And secondly, I saw very few masks on that field.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean,
And the other thing is, societally, people going out and celebrating or protesting, all of that stuff, really only will affect them, right? That's the personal choice. Like you said, the university, they're a business. They want to stay open.
yeah.
They want to keep their teams healthy to make money. The entire student population coming onto the field, one risks starting a massive outbreak on that campus, which could shut down the campus, shut down the school, shut down the teams, all the things they don't want to have happen.
Yeah.
I imagine their management council is furious today at seeing that. I'll have to go look and see if they've put out any sort of statement. But yeah, not good. Not good at all.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I just feel like at this point in time, like it's just one of the years where just stay in the stands. It's like it doesn't seem that difficult to do. Like I know maybe we've seen that younger crowds are kind of driving up numbers just based on the data that's shown and what I've heard. But it's like you might not care in the moment. Obviously, you're celebrating a victory, but also you can do it in a different way just for 1 year. It's like and also not for nothing Notre Dame, but Trevor Lawrence wasn't even playing, so like I don't know.
Well, that's what's going to be interesting. We've said this about the college football thing. How do these games get judged?
Yeah.
Like how do you start ranking these wins? Like how does Notre Dame, how is this win ranked for them? Because Trevor Lawrence didn't play, like you said. So how do you start? That's going to be, like we said last week, I don't envy being part of the college football committee because
Yeah.
it's going to be really hard to try and sift through all this stuff. I kind of just think like, I don't know. I'm on the fence about the storming the field thing. I think in a normal time, I kind of think it's an thing to do anyways. And you don't really see it that much anymore. Mostly because for security reasons. But especially right now, like I gotta imagine. I gotta imagine, like every institution, basically, they've made all these students sign waivers, like
I would think so, yeah.
agreements about you're coming to campus. This is the conduct you're gonna have. You're not gonna be in large gatherings. You will not do this. You will not do that. You will wear your mask. You will wash. All these sorts of things that you agree to, and that you also agree to the discipline that could come with not adhering to those safety standards that we're setting for campus. I see a couple thousand people breaking that right now.
Yeah. I mean, what do you do there with quarantine? How do you put people into quarantine after that? Like the whole school is in quarantine?
Basically,
you just bring them all into the gym together and just, put some beds out because that's it. All, thousands of people are quarantined now. I don't know. It like you mentioned, even before like COVID times, I'm not crazy about the storm on the field thing. I don't know. Like maybe that's just because I don't know. It just doesn't excite me as much. Like I think that game was, super engaging, super exciting last night, and it was. Don't get me wrong, it was a good win for Notre Dame. At the same time, do you really need to storm the field? I don't know. It just seems
Yeah.
like we see Super Bowls and you know we don't see NFL fans running on the field or anything like that. I mean, college basketball happens too, but you know, it's kind of the same. I get the environment of it, uh, but at the same time, especially this year, let's just tone it down.
Yeah. Am I surprised? No.
No, yeah, I mean, no.
But let's quickly see. I'm curious. I don't know if the university put out any sort of statement. It doesn't seem. Well,
Probably not yet.
before the game they did. Uh, Director of Athletics Jack Swarbrick delivers a message to students ahead of the November 7th football game versus Clemson. Be smart, be safe, be loud, wear green, and oh yeah, leave those marshmallows at home. Thanks again, and be Irish. And it looks like he's got it's like a 2-minute long video. But as far as I can tell, nothing, no statement from them since. I'd be surprised if they just stay quiet.
Yeah, they might. They got a lot of
that.
contact tracing to do too. So
Yeah, they got to figure out the scope first before they comment. We're not going to comment on a ongoing investigation.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, until it's over, and then they don't even comment anyway. I would just stay quiet. Why not? You know what?
So that's the Corona aspect of it. Kind of maybe lastly touch kind of like you said. How do we judge the win? I mean, the game was great. It was an awesome game. I was kind of mad that I was mad that it pushed back SNL.
Oh yeah,
I was looking forward to Dave Chappelle. But how do we grade that win? Is it a bigger win for Notre Dame? Is it an acceptable loss for Clemson? Like, hey, you didn't have Trevor Lawrence and you went to overtime. Like, honestly, that's a win for them in a way. Like, how do you grade the win or loss for either team?
Hey, a win is a win to me. I know Lawrence didn't play, and I just kind of alluded that it's not something to really celebrate on the field about because he wasn't even playing. But also, it is a big win. You know, I mean, even without Lawrence, Clemson's still a good team. So I think there's some order of celebration for Notre Dame, and Notre Dame's a good team as well. But
Yeah.
If he's in there, I think Notre Dame's chances obviously go down just a bit. But either way, I think it would have been a compelling game just based on what we saw last night. Because even Lawrence is in there. I mean, Clemson put up what 40 points.
Yeah.
So, like, even
can
if
you realistically expect much better? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, is he going to get to like what 54? Maybe, but we don't know that. So, I still think it's a good win for Notre Dame, regardless.
Yeah, and at least for Clemson, it's not like they lost to Indiana. Right.
Yeah.
Or somebody way, Auburn, somebody like way down in the rankings, or an unranked team. Like if they had lost last week to BC, that would have been.
Yeah, that would have been.
That would have been, the one where you're like, how do we even judge this? Like, okay, so you didn't have Lawrence, you lost, didn't play well. On the other hand, shouldn't you be good enough to beat that team without your quarterback? Shouldn't you have recruited well enough to have a good backup? So I agree. Notre Dame's they're no cakewalk. But hey, now, I mean, what's Clemson's remaining schedule? Florida State, Pittsburgh, Virginia Tech. So, not a ranked team left.
Yeah.
So I imagine they'll win all three of those. So I guess they're probably still going to be it's going to be hard to knock them out of that.
I would think, yeah.
That number one spot. So, next up here on the docket, transitioning to a little bit of baseball news. Is it any surprise that Alex Cora is once again the manager of the Boston Red Sox, and that they chose to dump that news in the middle of the afternoon on what was it, Thursday or Friday?
Friday, I think it was.
Friday.
It was Friday.
End of the day. Yeah, because today's Sunday. The days are just, I don't even know.
Yeah.
Friday, end of the day. Everybody is just tuned in to news networks because we want to know how this election's turning out. And oh yeah, the Red Sox are just going to casually slip it out there that
very Red Sox.
We're bringing Alex Cora back. Okay, cool. Bye. There's going to be people who might not even know, like the casual fan.
Oh yeah,
was way tuned in. They're going to tune into the first preseason game and be like, "Wait, Alex Cora's the manager? Am I watching? Am I watching a rerun? What is
Yeah.
going on? Uh, I don't know if it's a good or a bad. As far as what he'll be able to do, he will help them win games. They will be a better team with Alex Cora as the manager, right?
Yep.
Strictly baseball, strictly the future of the team. He will help them be better. I don't know how Shine Bloom is going to feel about him because now it's like, didn't you want your guy? And I know they were gonna work together anyways, but now you probably had a taste of I might get to shape my whole team. Unless this was all just the smokescreen. This is gonna be a 1 year suspension. We're gonna do the right thing from the PR standpoint to
Oh
say
yeah.
we're letting him go, but wink wink nudge nudge, we're bringing you back, don't worry. So maybe they behind closed doors they knew this was the plan all along. Um
Yeah.
Baseball wise, great move. Image wise, I mean, I guess do you care if they come back
No.
and win a World Series? Will anybody care? I don't know. I guess I'm just a little surprised that baseball wanted this to happen because if baseball didn't want him back, he wouldn't be back. I mean, they really when they want to stonewall somebody and keep some. I mean, look, they they make it happen,
Yeah.
um, and let it be known. Uh, so I guess I'm more surprised from a public relations standpoint, and that Major League Baseball would want because wouldn't why would you even want to like have the sense of any impropriety? It'd be like if the NBA after like a 3 year suspension let Tim Donaghy come back and start reffing games. You'd just be like, maybe the guy's clean now, but are you sure? Like, I just think it's why want to even have the sense of impropriety? But I guess
Hinch
the
is
Red
back
Sox
too, though.
I guess the Red Sox don't care.
Yeah, I mean Hinch is back too with the Tigers. So it didn't take long for either guy to get back. In terms of the decision for the Red Sox, as soon as I started hearing rumblings again, as soon as that broke that Cora's in the mix and he's like top four, top five, I said, okay, he's the manager. I mean, I don't think anybody could have thought otherwise. Like, and number one, I think it's good. I don't think you really take a big PR hit from this. I don't think it really matters that much. It was between him and Sam Fold, who Fold is in the mix now for bench coach, I would think, and that I would think that is more of Heimblum's guy. But at the same time, I think Cora is the better candidate, and you let him get the year off, suspended or whatever. But he has. There's a thing about Cora that guys really. I don't know. They like the guys like Bogarts and the Dominican players resonate towards him. Like even David Price said something the other day. Like when he talked, you listened. He kind of has that. He's kind of cocky. Like when you hear him talk, but also he has that thing that a manager needs, especially in that locker room for this team, where he can kind of bring guys together. And we saw that a couple of years ago. Um, so I don't think you really take a huge hit from this, and also nobody's watching anyway. So like that's the other thing. But I would rather have Cora than anybody else. I was hoping they would bring him back. Um, and now I think Fold is probably, like I said, I think he's probably more of Bloom's guy. So it's probably going to be the bench coach, I would think. But those guys in tandem, I think that's a start for something anyway. Not that baseball is going to be any great shape next year either, but I think Cora is the right guy for the job here.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, there's so many factors with baseball. The money they have said they allegedly have lost is
Yeah,
huge. So we're gonna see
has to.
with how that affects free agency, what this team's gonna actually be able to do and build. A lot of teams, and we've agreed here. I think baseball could be the sport that's most affected by this.
Yeah,
One, because of money. Two, interest was already dwindling.
yeah,
Uh, Three, we've discussed the analytic thing and the game actually being a worthwhile product to
yeah.
watch from a spectator standpoint. And four, the fact that they could be competing with the NHL and NBA again.
Yeah,
So
not good. Yeah, baseball's not in a great spot.
not in the best of spots. So we'll get to that now. NBA offseason. Big news from this week. Sham Charania. You want anything now? I think he's kind of surpassed Woj. You want the most up to date news. Shams is the guy. The let's see. National Basketball Players Association has voted to tentatively approve NBA's proposal for the 2020-2021 campaign starting on December 22nd and playing 72-game season. NBA set to tip off Christmas week. He follows that up with that the both sides, the players union and the league, are working to finalize health and safety protocols. Sides are discussing a 17 to 18% escrow of player salaries over the next 2 years. So that comes back to things that when we were talking about what if the teams decided to stop playing back during the protests, that they'd be walking away from a big chunk of their money that basically was put in escrow, and then depending on where that happens every year. Usually it was around like 5 to 10%.
Mm.
For the renegotiated CBA, Matt Murphy told us that was up to like 25% to offset potential losses.
Right.
It seems that number has come down, which is good. That means that the league didn't probably lose as much money as they thought they were going to. Still high, that players might have to give up 70 to 18% of their salaries, at least initially, depending on earnings. That money could come back. And with hope of the amount of withholdings getting down to 10% in 2022-23. And then these last two, they're discussing a minimum of 2% annual growth of the salary cap and luxury tax. That's big news. We were thinking that the cap could go down or stay the same. That's good news for teams like the Celtics, who are kind of up against it and trying to negotiate some things. And then the NBA and NBAP are extending today's deadline. This was from Friday to Monday for either side to serve notice on terminating the collective bargaining agreement. Sources tell The Athletic that sides will continue to work on finalizing CBA issues. I think it seems both sides are going to want to avoid a stoppage, and you hear that they're negotiating, they're talking, which means that they'll work it out.
Yeah.
There hasn't really, and if this team can work through what they had to work through the spring and the summer, from everything from the virus to the players negotiating a give and take here with the social justice stuff and the involvement of the league and from other teams. If they can work through all that, they can work through the details of the CBA to get this
100%.
season up and running. I have 100% confidence. It seems everybody's confident that they'll get things negotiated in full by tomorrow evening, and that we will get the NBA starting Christmas week.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Shocker. We heard rumors of late January instead and then the players realized we don't want to lose any more money than we have to. So yeah, I'm not shocked. I think it's they'll work it out one way or another, right? I mean, I think we all knew that. Christmas week is a good week. I think it's a good test to see what the NBA actually wants to do. I don't think so. Supposedly in the summer, I mean, we said they could potentially do this full time now, like where they shift the season and go into the summer. I don't think they're going to want to do that based on what Adam Silver has said in the past few months. But either way, now you get a real test of that. Like you start late December, the NHL will start, at some point as well. And then you kind of go into the baseball season past football, and it'll work out one way or another. I mean, the players are going to, they're going to figure out a way to get a deal done. Because they want money, they want to make sure they're playing enough games. Like they're gonna be ready to go. Now we have to see what COVID brings, obviously, but there's gonna be some type of regional bubble, I would assume, that they'll have to work out. But this is gonna be a weird year again. It's not just the playoffs are over, the bubble worked, and now we're moving right along. It's not gonna be a regular season again, so they'll get something done. And the finite details. But the Christmas start, I like. I mean, I think we both said that before. I think that's a good starting point if you're the NBA.
Yeah, and I trust them to get it done.
Yeah,
Like they've gotten everything else done, and I trust them. They're the league that I trust the most to work with the players and actually get something done and something accomplished, and
yeah,
and to make it work. I mean, and the NHL to a degree too. I mean, we got to give them credit. They pulled off their bubble basically without a hitch.
yeah.
So that I'll trust them to figure something out too. So optimistic. I know they said part of the math and how many games they were going to play and how long they wanted to go was
Yeah.
because they didn't want to overlap into the Summer Olympics.
Right.
So those are still and who knows by then if that'll even still happen either.
Yeah. We don't
So
know.
those are scheduled. Let's see if they. I know it's July. Um, let's see if they've got a date. July 23rd,
Yeah.
tentatively.
Tentative anyway. Yeah. I mean,
Um,
look, we don't know where anything's going to be then, right? I mean, that's still,
it's
8 months.
a long way away.
Yeah. Based on how everything's going, that's a long time
Let's take
from
things
now.
like 1 week at a time here.
Yeah.
Um,
That's a lifetime now.
yeah, so that's good. So we'll give an update here on the NBA. So let's see. I
Yeah.
know the moratorium is lifted, I believe, on Monday. Um, so we could start to see some NBA trades. Now, generally, you don't see anything before the draft. Usually, things start to go down on draft day. But there's some deadlines. I mean, about Anthony Davis, whether he opts in or opts out. Da, 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 da.
Well, supposedly he's going to rip that up and do a new deal with the Lakers, right?
Well, yeah, and that's what people expect. I'm trying to see here. It looks like the target date for free agency will be the week of Thanksgiving, or December 1st, in and around there. The draft is November 18th, so
Yeah.
November 18th draft. Seems like free agency will be within a week after that, which is typical. Usually the draft is late June, and then you have free agency begin July 1st. And then usually deals can be agreed. We always hear deals are agreed upon, but then they're never officially signed until like the 4th of July or 5th of July, because there's that period where nothing can technically happen yet.
Right.
But that's the timeline. I mean, that's coming quick. That is coming quick. And there's going to be a lot to sift through, and we've been over it extensively. I think we're going to see a lot of moves. I think there's a lot of teams that from the bubble last year are going to be invigorated. Like the Heat, probably. Who knows what the Heat would have been under normal circumstances, right?
Yeah.
They're a team that probably flourished in the bubble, in that atmosphere. Would they have even made it out of like the second round under normal circumstances? We don't know.
Probably
So,
not.
but they're probably going to be willing to invest and make that team better. You have teams like the Bucks that are going to be trying to maybe trying to swing some big moves. They want to try and keep Giannis in Milwaukee. The Sixers gotta shake things up. The Rockets say that they're going to try and keep Westbrook and Harden together, which I think is a mistake. There's a lot of teams. The Warriors with their pick. I mean, there's so
Yeah.
many moving parts, and then there's always the teams that like you don't expect to really make any sort of moves that are sitting there. The Denver Nuggets have cap space. They have a lot of expiring contracts. They're a very good team. They could pull off some big trade for a guy. If they get they're a team that maybe swings a trade for like a Miles Turner. And now you're looking at that team like, wow, Miles Turner over Paul Millsap. That's a
Yeah.
huge upgrade. And now that team is bolstered and ready to roll for the next 3 or 4 years. There's going to be, I think, a lot of movement. I hope. I mean, generally the NBA, generally the NBA is more exciting with their free agency and with their trade deadline stuff and with their trading and maneuverings. A team like the Nets. I mean, we spoke about them last week. Now, I don't think any of those pie in the sky trades actually happen. But you never know. They could say, let's package some of these young guys we have and go out and move up in the draft. Or let's go and get player X to supplement Kyrie and KD. Who knows?
It'll be that.
There's so many teams that I think feel like they're in the mix. And so that just means that teams are going to be wanting and willing to make deals one way or another. So I'm really excited by the prospect of this NBA offseason.
Yeah, I mean, potentially there could be a lot of movement. Just from a Celtics standpoint, you hear Danny Ainge is, instead of trying to assemble the best team ever in Maine, he's trying to get rid of some of those picks finally, like 6 years too late. But, there's going to be a lot of movement.
This is the year we're going to get into this. Hopefully next weekend we'll be having our Matt Murphy, our draft and salary cap expert, joining the show. So if you have NBA offseason questions, hypotheticals, any of that sort of stuff, send it our way. Email the 360sportshow@gmail.com. You can do that throughout the show and throughout the week. But we're hoping to have our draft expert on to break down the NBA draft and all the players. I've done a little bit of cursory research. I actually think that of all the years where I want the Celtics to keep their picks and make their picks, it's this year. There is actually
No,
tremendous. Yes.
no.
Of all the years, they're right up against the cap. Now, if Gordon Hayward leaves, that kind of changes things, right? Because now I think, all right, we don't just need some filler pieces here for the bench. We need to actually reconstruct some of the roster. If Gordon Hayward comes back, whether it's he opts in or if he opts out and signs a long-term deal back, you're trying to get guys that are talented. I don't think you're attracting any of the marquee role players this team that are going to be on the free agent market. Maybe an Aaron Baines to come in and to take the place of Enes Kanter, right? Maybe that's a guy. We've talked about Isaiah Thomas to come off the bench on a veteran minimum contract. Or you draft guys like Aaron Naismith. You draft guys like Jalen Smith, who are quasi NBA ready role players, potential to be star players who come in and in a rookie year you ask them 10 minutes off the bench. But they're guys who do the things you don't have. They're snipers. They're shooters. Actual scorers off the bench, right? Would you rather have a marksman or a Brad Wanamaker? Would you rather have Time Lord or Enes Kanter, or would you rather have a guy that his upside is a Miles Turner? Right?
Yeah, look, you already
look at the
have.
things. Look at the. Hold on. You know what? Go ahead. I'm gonna pull up right now the scouting report on these two guys. Go ahead and say what you're gonna say, and then I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna come back with the facts. Go ahead.
Well, no, I have facts. You already have the Avengers assembled in Maine, like the best team ever assembled, and none of them give you anything off the bench. So you keep making these picks. Eventually, you're going to just be over.
But these aren't going to be. These guys aren't going. These guys aren't going to Maine. These aren't. I'm not. Yeah. None of the. If we draft a whole, you're right. If they draft a whole bunch of guys that don't even make the roster, or they're on two-way deals, or we stash them in Maine, what is the point? What is the point of even making those picks there? Because this team is ready to go. It is ready to go. They just need a couple of things in some key spaces. And I think they'd be set. All right, I'm gonna read you. Jalen Smith is a guy and these guys are gonna be available. These are not like, oh, go out and get Obi Toppin or go out and trade up and get Anthony Edwards or Wiseman. Those guys are gonna be gone. Now, if they wanted a package and move up and get one of those guys, I won't say no, right? But if you're gonna stay put, draft guys who you can plug into your team right now. I want to read you. This is Jalen Smith. This is the first guy. Tell me if you like this. Tell me if you think the Celtics could use this guy on a rookie contract right now. Wingspan, 7'1", height 6'10", weight 225. Coordinated big man who can shoot and handle the ball, though he'll need to make strides on defense to become a full-time starter. Shades of Serge Ibaka, Thomas Bryant. Talented shooter with sound mechanics. He excels off screens and handoffs. His size and position make him even more valuable. Dynamic screening threat. He sets strong, fundamental picks and forces defenses to respect his ability to drive to the rim and pop out for a three. Good interior finisher with either hand. He has touch. He can finish with power, especially on putbacks when crashing the boards. Runs the floor hard. He'll beat defenses for dunks and layups, but he can also trail off and drain threes. High motor, high IQ, smart defender, solid shot blocker, savvy sense of timing, boxes out on the boards, and rebounds well. They could have used that.
Sure.
I think the Celtics could use that, right? And where's the other guy I want? Where's my boy? Where's Isaiah? Not Isaiah. Aaron Naismith. Possesses a flamethrower jump shot. He projects easily as a high-end role player, though he flashes raw ability off the dribble. Shades of Danny Green and a taller Buddy Hield. Unlimited range. Spaces the floor by demanding a defense's attention. Skilled shooter off screens who takes tight routes, makes smart reads, has elite fundamentals from catch to release. Comfortable shooting threes off the dribble. Nice sidestep and step back with clean footwork. Straight line drive with decisive attacking closeouts. With his size and strength, he could develop into a good finisher. understands his role and excels within it. He's a great screener, execute plays, takes smart shots, keeps the ball moving, competitive on-ball defender. He projects if he works at it, could be far more versatile as a defender, intelligent defender, though not a great athlete. His positioning makes him a deterrent at the nail and around the rim. Basically, what all we thought Carson Edwards was going to be, this guy was just going to fill up the bucket. Wouldn't you rather have? We all said Buddy Hield was the guy we wanted the Celtics to get years ago. These guys are going to be there. If they draft these type of guys, great. If they go and draft somebody who they've been projected to, I've seen some mock drafts, RJ Hampton, basically Dante Exum, Will Barton, basically they're Romeo Langford clones. That's a guy who's going to just wind up in Maine, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't need more of that guy. It depends. I'm with you. I don't need to just assemble more of these guys to go have the best team in the G League. There are players available where they're going to be picking that could really help this current team.
Yeah, my problem is not. So look, last year in the draft, you had the 14th pick, Romeo Langford. 20th pick, Matisse Thybulle was there, and you traded him to the Sixers for Carson Edwards, who gave you nothing. And Thybulle came in and played right away. So my problem is not that they have all these picks; it's the way they're using them. Like instead of stashing all these picks in Europe, like taking Gershon Yabusele, who is now playing in where? Who knows? Nobody knows. Like taking
Rucker Park.
Yeah, it's like he's playing in the NBA 2K league. Like it just. And then again this year, you're assuming, right? It's great to name all these great guys that could come in and play. I agree with you there, but you're assuming they're going to pick them. That's the problem.
Well,
right?
that's the thing.
They're going to take these guys that are in Argentina and stash them over there for 4 years and wait for them to be good.
And I will rightfully be furious if that happens. This team right now is too poised to take that next step. They shouldn't be drafting guys with an eye towards 4 years from now. Draft guys. Usually these guys we're talking Buddy Hield, right? I wanted the Celtics. They were going to need to trade up to get him. These are guys that will be available when they're picking. Right. If they pass on them for these project guys, then yeah, I'm with you. I will be beyond furious if that happens.
Maybe this year is the year that they can lock into those picks and take them. I'm just saying in previous years, there have been opportunities to take 2 of these picks that have been absolutely useless for you. Maybe trade up a couple slots and get a guy that could come in right now, like a Tyler Hero, like one of these guys that clearly has the upside and the potential to play right now. And instead, they take guys and stash them in Maine for 3 years. Therein lies the problems. Because, I mean, this team is young, and they're kind of ramping up here to be in a position where they should be competing for an Eastern Conference championship and maybe an NBA championship. So they need to, instead of taking all of their picks when they're needed, maybe getting rid of them for guys that can come off the bench and play, or for draft picks that can play now, because the main team is stacked and we don't see anybody on the NBA roster. They all suck. And then, we have 3 more picks and everybody's obsessed with all these picks, but they're not doing anything with the picks. That's the problem that I have.
I want to get your thoughts on this team. And I tentatively crunched the numbers on this. And again, we need to get Matt Murphy back on the show to break down some of these scenarios. But I used the resources he gave us about projecting salaries and rookie pay scales. And so these guys who I said that I wanted, Jalen Smith and Aaron Naismith, I said, let's just assume the Celtics take them at 14 and 17. And Gordon Hayward I assume that Gordon Hayward just opted into this year. If he restructures his deal, then there's a whole lot of other moves they can make. But this is what I went with. Here's your starters. Kemba Walker, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Gordon Hayward, Time Lord, Robert Williams. I'm assuming that he keeps progressing. Your bench, Marcus Smart, Aaron Naismith, and imagine what Naismith could be. Picture Buddy Hield, right? That's the guy. Romeo Langford, Grant Williams, Daniel Tice. Your reserves, Brad Wanamaker. I assume they bring him back on kind of a similar deal. You keep Carson Edwards. You also have uh, Green on the bench. You still have him. Jalen Smith is just another big. You still have Vincent Poirier, and then your two-way guys that you retain, which don't really they're on your roster. You get to move them back and forth. They won't count towards your actual salary cap, but you get to have them on your roster. You keep Taco Fall and Tremont Waters. How do you think that team competes? Do you think that team's better than last year and they get to the finals?
Can they get to the finals? Probably not. Are they better than last year? Yeah. I don't think. I still don't think they're getting
they're better
through.
than last year, but they can't get to the finals.
No, probably not. Not with everybody coming back. I mean, you're looking at Milwaukee now, and also this is assuming that at some point there's fans in the stands and we're not in a playoff bubble again. In a normal year, they're probably not making the final.
Okay. This is an email from Pete and Gansett. Brad Stevens has been given some great players over the past few seasons and still no new banner in the rafters at TD Garden. How many seasons does he get to produce? Thanks for the email, Pete. Like we said, email the 360sportshow at gmail.com to reach us here or comment on the live stream. I'd say, and I've said this, like they made the Eastern Conference Finals in 3 out of the last 4 years, but those were 3 wildly different teams.
Yeah.
One was a team that was a very veteran team that got there with Isaiah Thomas and Horford and Bradley and Crowder and all these guys. And it was kind of like an aberration. They really didn't. They were there. They were the number 1 seed that year, but it was they went to Game 7 against Milwaukee and the Wizards and then got blown out of the water in the Eastern Conference Finals. 2018, a miracle. Gordon Hayward goes down beginning of the season. Kyrie Irving gets hurt, and all these guys overperform. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum rise to the occasion, and those guys, Rozier, averaging almost 30 points a game.
Nutty.
Absurd. They get to an Eastern Conference Final. They get to Game 7. I mean, it was remarkable.
They should have won Game 7.
And so there's that team. Then you come back. You had all of the chemistry issues the following year. This year, the bubble, they get there. And we talked about how the Heat were a bad matchup, and I think this team still is trying to find that killer instinct. And we forget how young guys like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are, and because of that success, them being on teams that have gotten that far, we think that they already have it, when it really wasn't them who was getting them there and getting them past those moments. It was Isaiah Thomas helping Jaylen Brown get there the first time. It was those guys getting there almost miraculously the second time. This year, now it was really on them to try and earn and get there and overcome a lot of other things. And I think we take for granted the grind of the bubble mentally. This is the first real year where there will not only be pressure on these guys, expectations, but those expectations will be bringing back the same team.
Mm-hmm.
There's no excuses. There's no Kyrie. There's no, it's a new team, injuries. I mean, injuries could happen anyways, but this is the first time you're kind of really saying, hey, we're running it back now.
Yeah.
And if they don't get to the conference finals again, or they don't get to the finals, then that seat gets a little hot for Brad. I think Brad's done a remarkable job given the teams he's had, and they haven't really had the chance to kind of like go back with the same team. Now I think they didn't expect Kyrie to break and not go the way that it went. And they're lucky they got Kemba. So now you're building, and I think depending on what happens with Hayward, you're going to come into this year pretty much with a set team saying Tatum, Brown, Kemba, whoever. But this is our core. And how do we turn this into like a 3-year window of elevated success?
Yeah.
The pressure's on them now. Like, if you go, they need to at least make the finals next year, in my opinion. And they should win one. One. They have the talent to win more, but they need to win one here in the next, 2-3 years. Because it is there. I think it is there. Unless Giannis or, Embiid goes to the Warriors and then just cancel the NBA. It's over. But that's my take. I just think it's been different years, and you have to take into account the circumstances. Um, Pressure's on this year, though. The pressure is on them this year, no doubt about it.
Yeah, I mean the East is getting better this year too. Well, we'll see what happens with the moves, but I think the Sixers should be better without that coach over there. I think he was terrible, and not that the coach means a lot in the NBA. I mean, really, it's on the players, but still, in key situations, Doc Rivers is probably going to be better than Brown was. And then you have the Nets as well. Kyrie, KD, if they can stay healthy, should be pretty good in the East. I think they're probably 2, 3 maybe. And Toronto's coming back, and the same thing with Milwaukee. So it's not going to be easy. But these guys, I mean, look, in the NBA, you're looking at maybe what 5, 6, 7 years before these guys really peak. Like you just look at the track record of like Steph Curry, LeBron, these guys that are young, like a Tatum. It's going to take another couple of years before he really gets going, in my opinion, just based on the track record of the league. So in the next couple of years, you really got to bolster the roster in a way that you can hold on to some of these guys, bench on the bench, especially where you're not kind of turning things over year in and year out. So, I mean, personally, at this point, I think Hayward's probably gone, which is it is a hit, but also now you have to get guys on the bench that can come in and help. So maybe it helps you in a way if he's not there. I'm not convinced of that, but there could be a lot of change on the Celtics team. Never mind the whole Eastern Conference. So I don't think the upside is there for sure, but I'm not as keen on they're going to make the finals as you might be.
You're never keen on anything positive.
I mean, I think they're a good team. I just think everybody else is better.
Your negativity fuels my positivity. It's good. It's a good yin yang.
Yeah.
It's a good yin yang. The day that's how you know the days I'm negative, that's when you know it's bad. When I come on here and say the Celtics are cooked, that's how you know it's bad.
That's
or the day Christian comes on and says like we're winning the finals. It's like, uh-oh, where's the asteroid?
That will never happen.
Where's the asteroid? Where's the earthquake? We have to stop saying these things. I think we're just bringing them.
I know, huh?
We're manifesting them. All of these things. Last note before we get to our NFL picks.
Oh, did we lose you? Last note before the NFL picks. Oh, Junior Hockey League, yeah. Yeah, so we wanted to touch on this. The Junior Hockey League up in, I believe it's Canada, right? And they want to say no to checking in their league for hockey, which is mind-blowing to me. And maybe we'll get Andrew back here.
I think we lost Christian. Oh, are you back?
I lost you. Where are you?
Oh, I'm good. We're back.
All right.
We're back.
I think I was in the middle of talking. I don't know if anybody heard me.
What were you saying then? I was bringing up the Ontario Hockey League issue. Yeah.
Yeah. Dumb. If you take checking out of hockey, you should just cancel the sport. There's a key element of hockey, and it's called checking. If you take that out, forget about it. You don't have a sport anymore. What are guys supposed to do? It's just going to be a bunch of guys like dancing on the ice. It just seems weird. I don't even know why. I understand the head injury thing. I assume that's kind of the basis of it is injuries. But if you take checking out of the sport is no longer hockey, right? It just takes all of it's a physical contact sport. You can't take that out of it. It just makes no sense.
Yeah. Now I know. Yeah, I mean, because even in like women's hockey, they're not supposed to check, right? Yeah. It's not within the rules of the game. The game is still played physically, though.
Exactly.
Like it's still played. It is a contact sport. There's not supposed to be contact in basketball either, but there's contact.
Yeah. That's the nature of the game.
I just, it's one of those things. It's like you're gonna say you can't do this. Nobody is gonna actually enforce. Oh, you got two. How are you supposed to play the sport? Are you actually gonna tell people to get away from each other on the ice? Then why play? then don't
Yeah.
play. You
If you
either
told
play or you don't play.
if you told NHLers today that they've done this thing for 26 years called checking, if you said you can't do this anymore, do you think they would do it? There's no shot. That is the basis of the sport.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. I'd be interested to see what other people. I know a lot of people in the hockey world have said, "What are we doing?"
Yeah.
They'd probably rather not play.
Honestly, yeah. At that point, you might as well not. I mean, look, you can
Or
get
it's
rid
gonna
of.
be one of those things that just doesn't get enforced. So it's just a
Yeah.
farce. Like
Yeah.
we're trying to like make it look good that we're trying to do something to limit the spread. And it's just not enforced at all.
Yeah.
Nobody decides to actually enforce it or change the game. So we'll see. We'll have to
Yeah.
wait for for some of these games to start to get played.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dumb.
That's like saying football
All caps dumb.
because of the head injuries in football, it's no longer tackle. We're going to put a flag in the NFL. It's flag football now. Like you just can't take those things out of the sport. You can like especially with COVID and injuries, you obviously want to limit. But you can do that in a way that you're not completely taking the key component of the sport out of the game. It just makes no sense.
Yeah. So if you have any other thoughts, questions, comments, concerns, games for us to play, you can email the 360 Sports Show at gmail.com. You can also comment on the live streams. We're live every Sunday beginning at 11 a.m. They're in a bounce as long as there's no earthquakes or other catastrophic events potentially happening. You can comment on the live streams. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Twitch. And we also put the show out as a podcast, which you can subscribe to through Sounder FM or through your favorite podcast app. By the way, big shout out to Sounder. We made the switch from SoundCloud to Sounder. Sounder gave us some free promotion this week. I gotta say already, I'm loving I'm loving the Sounder life. Love our friends at Sounder FM for showing the show a little bit of love. They put out on Facebook. Tired of all the election coverage? You want a break from it? Get some sports content with the 360 Sports Show. So
good stuff. I'll take it.
Big love.
Big round of applause
for our friends at Sounder FM. Round of applause. We are thrilled with our partnership now with Sounder FM. So last bit of news today. Dun 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 dun. NFL picks. Christian, I made it was not a great week for either of us, but it was a better week for me than I've had the last couple of weeks. You did edge me 7-6. You lead me 71-60 on the season overall. You've had 3 really good weeks in a row.
Yeah.
And actually it's not like you've had great weeks. I've just had abysmal. I made some really treacherous picks that didn't pay out for me. I also have to say I am furious. Back-to-back weeks, I nearly had negative points fantasy-wise for my quarterbacks. Cam Newton gave me a -2, and I 100% lost because of that. Now, I wouldn't have won last week no matter what unless Jared Goff had a monster week because I was going up against Pat Mahomes, who had like a 50-burger. But when I tune in midway through the game and Jared Goff is sitting there at -5.
Yeah. Phenomenal.
What? That performance against the Dolphins was putrid. So that was one of the games that I lost against you.
It's that big Tua energy.
God. All right. So anyway, we're gonna get into the NFL picks, and we kind of break down our thoughts on the teams as we do so, kind of in the lightning round here of NFL picks and action. So Christian, if you want to go ahead and pull up the schedule, we can get through these picks here. So
all right.
We already had Green Bay at San Fran. That was Green Bay. That was like a JV game. Honestly, I don't know many people who watched because we were all sucked into the election stuff.
Yeah.
Not a watchable game at all. I mean, you almost felt bad for the Niners.
The Niners can't field a team anymore.
Yeah.
It's like they have a bunch of practice squad guys out there. I don't know. There's so many injuries at this point. So that was an easy pick. Green Bay, easy. But so we'll start today. Denver at the Falcons.
Oh, I'm going Denver. They've shown me a little something here. I just have, I don't believe in Atlanta. Atlanta's defense is terrible. Denver, it's like the quarterback position makes me hold back on them. Their defense is okay, and they have so many weapons. They actually really have so many weapons.
Yeah, they're not bad.
So I'm going to go Denver. Even though it's on the road, I don't care. Atlanta sucks.
See, now I'm torn. I don't know. At Atlanta, I don't like either of these teams. I'm gonna say Atlanta, just because they're at home. Why not?
All right.
Natty Ice. All right, and then a pretty decent game actually. Seattle at Buffalo.
Uh, hmm. Seattle. I'm not gonna fool
Yeah,
myself. Nobody's stopping Russell Wilson right now.
I was waiting for it. See, yeah, Seattle. I think the Bills should have lost last week if the Patriots didn't pee down their own leg and fumble that ball away. The Bills have not really. I know they have a decent record. They have not been impressive to me. I don't know. Like they're not. They don't seem like they're there yet. I don't know what it is. Like they beat the Jets, Dolphins. And they're coming off a win against the Patriots and the Jets, but I'm
Well,
just not impressed.
they're 6-2. They've got Seahawks. Let's say they lose 6-3. Cardinals. They could easily lose that 6-4. Chargers. That's a tough game, but let's say they win. That's 7-4. Niners. They could beat them 8-4. Steelers could be lost 8-5. Broncos in Denver.
Who knows?
That's a toss up. But let's say they win that 9-5, and then they end with the Patriots and Dolphins. They could easily be 9-7, 10-6,
Yeah,
which honestly is kind of right around
that's what they're. Yeah,
what we thought they'd be, which is good, not
we
great.
are who they thought they were.
Good, not great. And
Yeah,
I think we thought the Bills would be better given how they started. But they
yeah.
haven't elevated past that point yet. So good,
No, they're just not. Yeah,
good, not great, which means you're not going to pick them against the great teams. So not
yeah.
today. Not today. Next.
Next, Chicago at Tennessee. Another iffy one. Tennessee
It's a weird game. What is Tennessee?
Tennessee coming off a bad loss, so
And their defense has surprisingly been bad. Surprisingly been bad. Um, I'll have to dig up. I had a good stat that we'll talk about with the Patriots and the Titans factor into it too. But the Titans defense has actually been really bad this year. Like
yeah,
points per
they've
game that
not
they've
been great.
allowed. Chicago though, their offense is wildly underperforming. Um, I'm gonna go with Tennessee just because they're at home. It's like
Yeah,
really the only thing, uh, only thing I have to go on there. I don't feel great about it, but Tennessee.
yeah, I don't feel great about it, but the Bears are another team that like their defense is good, their offense has not been impressive. They've gotten a couple wins at the end of games here, but yeah, Tennessee. I think coming off a couple of losses or a loss last week, bad loss last week. I think they get back on track here.
All right.
Baltimore at Indy.
Oh,
Hmm.
Baltimore in a runaway. Kidding me? Philip Rivers is going to throw like 3 picks, easy, in this game. And guess what? The Ravens, guess what they got back today, which is going to be cool to see. Dez Bryant,
Yeah,
officially active. He's playing. I feel like he's going to have like this is what's gonna happen. We're gonna be like watching one of these other games, probably Seattle Buffalo, and we're gonna say we're gonna go now to the studio for an update. All right, guys. Here's Des Bryant catching this 3-yard touchdown pass from Lamar Jackson. In his first game back, and he's gonna be like, he already caught 2 passes. He's two catches, 27 yards and a touchdown. Great news for Des Bryant. And then later on in the fourth quarter, we're gonna tune back in. Oh, bad news here, in Indy. Des Bryant just ruptured his Achilles again. I
yeah,
feel like Des
yeah.
Bryant's probably gonna be good today for like 2 catches and a touchdown, and then get hurt. But I'm still picking Baltimore. No
Yeah, I'll
way.
take the Ravens as well.
Indy again. Good, not great. They're kind of in that same Buffalo wheelhouse. Good, not
Yeah,
great.
yeah. I mean, they smoked the Lions last week, but
It's the
well,
Lions.
it's the Lions, but I think that Indy's roster is pretty good though. They've drafted pretty well, but yeah, overall,
Quarterback sucks.
I'm not. Yeah, he's washed, but I think yeah, I'm not picking against Baltimore in that one. No way.
Yeah. All right. Next one.
Moving right along, Carolina at KC, Kansas City.
Yeah. No further analysis necessary.
No analysis needed on that one.
Carolina, love Teddy Bridgewater. I think their skill position's good. Their offensive line is putrid. They're going to get run over in this game. Something like 38-13.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not even going to add any words to that. Detroit at Minnesota.
This is a puke fest. Can I pick a tie? Can I just say that I think this game's going to be a tie? Can I...
I don't know.
10.
Vikings coming off a big win with Dalvin Cook coming back last week against GB.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll lean Minnesota. They're home. No faith in Detroit. I guess Minnesota's slightly better. I'll give them. What's their record? They're another one of these teams though that I keep thinking is like
Two
had a
wins.
horrible year.
Like
They
two,
only
no,
have.
they're like 2-4, 2-5. Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, 2-5. Detroit 3-4 is better than I thought. Um. Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna pick Minnesota, but again, I'm leaning towards tie.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like any of these picks right now, but I'm going to go Minnesota as well.
All right. We're in lockstep right now, Christian.
I know.
Next.
New York at Washington.
Which
Garbage.
which New York? Oh, because
Giants.
we're playing the Jets.
Yeah, Giants. Yep.
Giants at Washington. Ugh. I was really surprised. The Giants, I was really surprised with how well they played against the Bucks last Monday. I did not see that coming. However, Daniel Jones, what a Jekyll and Hyde, man. He makes some throws where you're like, wow,
I know.
he's got it. And then he makes some other throws where it's like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah,
They had a chance to tie that game. That 2-point convert. It was like you got it. Those last two plays, you got Daniel Jones and the Giants in a nutshell. A absolute rope on a dime on a seam route to Golden Tate. Perfect throw, perfect read, perfect ball. Mwah. They call the perfect play for a 2-point situation.
Yeah.
It should be set hut, throw to the pylon. Deion Lewis catches it in stride, turns, scores, tie game. Instead, he stares at it and he throws it behind him, and it's incomplete. Yeah. There you go. That's Daniel Jones in a nutshell right there.
That's how he is all year long.
Ugh. And so I would expect the Giants to win this game. I think they're the better team. But realistically, I'm picking Washington because I just have no faith. I can't pick the Giants after seeing what Daniel Jones has done. I can't pick them. I just can't. And the I keep trying to say the Redskins. They're not the football team has actually played decent. So, yeah, Washington.
Yeah, I would say Washington as well because, I mean, look, Daniel Jones, 7 touchdowns, 9 picks. Like that tells you all you need to know. He's got that 1-to-1 ratio pretty much, and
he is an Eli Manning clone, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's like peak 2013 Eli Manning.
Doesn't have the playoff success yet. He's got to get in first.
Yeah. Next.
Houston at Jacksonville. Another shite game. Yeah, this is not a great week.
Hopefully this one isn't in the afternoon window, or else I'm not watching. Houston, more talented team. I'll pick the more talented team. Don't care that they're on the road. Jacksonville, they're another Jekyll and Hyde team that like is in games and then just pukes down their leg and loses them.
Yeah, just put me down for a whatever this week. Like, who cares?
Because
I'm gonna say Houston as well.
Wow,
I think
they're both 1-6, man.
Houston should win this game. They should be better than they are.
Or are they gonna mail it? I mean, here's the thing. If the Texans are gonna mail it in, they lose this game. If they have it all a semblance of a shot, because say they win, the Texans have the Jaguars, the Browns, which is going to be a tough game, the Patriots, Lions, Colts, Bears, Colts, Bengals, Titans. There's still a path there for them to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But they need to win today. This is a big win. Their season is still salvageable for them. Especially because what's that division? It's salvageable. But yeah, if they lay an egg today, then just bag it. They should just tank.
Yeah.
Are you going with Houston?
Yeah.
All right, same.
And then Vegas at Los Angeles.
Is that the LAR or the LAC?
Black.
Man. These teams are like clones of each other.
Going Chargers.
Neither of them know how to win. And yeah, but I love Herbert. Same. Herbert's fun. I feel bad for that team. They keep finding ways to lose.
Yeah, they really do.
Oh, it's
That team,
uncanny.
they could easily be.
They could be
They
7 and
could
1.
yeah, they could be 6, 7 and 1, yeah. But instead they're 2 and 5.
They've had chances to beat the
uh,
Bucks, the Chiefs. Let's
Look
just
at
like
last week.
look at
Broncos,
them.
they lost by 1 after being up like 30-17 or something.
They could have beaten the Chiefs. The Panthers was a meh game. They should have beaten the Buccaneers. They should have beaten the Saints. They did beat the Jaguars. They should have beaten the Broncos. It's unreal.
Not great.
It's unreal the way they have lost games. But going down with the ship, picking them again this week.
Yeah, same. Chargers it is. I pick them every week because why not? Let's see. Pittsburgh at Dallas. Okay, Pittsburgh. Moving on.
Yeah, that's easy. Who are they starting? Who is Dallas starting this week?
Jeez.
Let's see if I can.
I don't even know if it's been announced. I would assume Danucci, but or he got hurt.
Let's see. Garrett Gilbert. Who?
I'm sorry, what? Sir, this
Garrett?
is a McDonald's? Who the hell is Gilbert? What? Garrett Gilbert, okay. Watch, this guy's gonna lead him to a victory today. Watch. I feel it now. I feel it coming.
Garrett Gilbert was on the Browns practice squad when he was surprisingly sound by the Cowboys. So this is one of those rare instances where teams like you can sign guys off the practice squad, but most teams don't do it out of like respect. They signed this guy off the practice squad from the Browns.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like once we said Garrett Gilbert, we should probably just stop the show. At that point, it's all over.
That sounds like a guy who should be like a reporter on the sidelines. We now go down to the sidelines to Garrett Gilbert. Garrett, what have you seen down there?
I mean, look, in a couple of weeks, he might be on the sideline. I don't know.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm still taking Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Pittsburgh's the best team in the league.
Miami at Cardinals. That could be an actual good game.
Arizona all the way. Here's
Miami.
why. Tua is not ready.
No, I don't. Yeah, I agree.
Tua's not ready, and I'm sorry. The Cardinals and Murray are not going to crap down their leg like the Rams did and just gift Miami like
that. I agree
points.
with that. I do agree with. But
Arizona.
I'm still going Miami.
I'm fine with that. I'm trying to make up games on you, so fine with that. Next.
New Orleans at Tampa Bay. Sunday night football.
Man, the Saints, man. I just don't know what I say it every week.
They won the last 2 games there.
I know, but it's just not something. It just doesn't impress me with them. I feel like the way they continually go to Taysom Hill. I feel like it does piss Breeze off. And I
Tampa Bay,
I don't know.
baby. Tampa Bay. Antonio Brown's Tom Brady's whoopee is coming in tonight.
Yeah. This is you know what this is going to be. You're right. This is going to be they're going to force feed Antonio Brown, and the Bucs are going to look great, but it's actually going to be a detriment for them. It's like they're going to win, but it's like going to be that little bit of like thread that's going to start to fray if Tom. It's going to be interesting to see. I've said this. Does Antonio Brown accept his role? Does he accept a role and just come in and be a good soldier? If they force him the ball like 10 times today, not going to be good. Win or lose, it's not going to be good. Not going to be good. Yeah, I'm going to take Tampa Bay too.
I like your strategy this week. Just copy all my picks. You know what I mean? And then obviously we're finishing up here with the New England Suctriots and the New York Jets.
Is that here or there?
That is in New York.
All right. So here's my thing about the Patriots. And I was saying this to you last week. I just feel like they're not making plays, man, in the backfield. And we know the front seven was going to struggle, given the guys who opted out and all of that. I'm like, man, why are they not making... And they have no elite players in the front seven. Zero elite players in the front seven. And I wanted to go to the numbers. And I was like, it just feels like they're not making plays. And the numbers bear that out. The Patriots do not have a player rank in the top 50 for tackles for loss. Their leader for TFLs is Adrian Phillips, a safety, and he's got 4 of them. For some perspective on that, the other teams that don't have a player rank in the top 50 with tackles for loss, that means you're making plays behind the line of scrimmage. That includes sacks and regular just, tackles, run stuffs, those sorts of things. The other teams without players in the top 50, Cincinnati, Minnesota, Jacksonville, Tennessee, Seattle. What do all those teams have in common right now? Putrid defenses. Not the company you want to be in defensively. Absolutely abysmal defenses. The flip side, no surprise. The team that has a player ranked number 1 and 2, Vince Williams, TJ Watt on the Steelers. Best team in football. No surprise. No surprise.
No, I mean, look,
they can't make any plays behind the line of scrimmage. They don't get pressure on the quarterback. They don't get They don't even get sacks. Sacks and pressure are 2 different things. I'll take constant pressure and no sacks. They don't get pressure. They don't get sacks. They don't stop the run. They don't set the edge. The front 7 is horrid. Scheme might help that, but their personnel is bad.
Yeah, they don't have any personnel. That's really the key. And look at the drafts. They drafted 2 linebackers. Neither of them see the field.
Uche did play well last week. I'll give him that.
How many snaps did he have? Like 3?
Hopefully he sees more. With Copeland going down, he should see more. I want to know what's up with Chase Winovich. Why is that dude not on the field? Were they like holding him back?
Oh, he's in the doghouse. No, he's in the doghouse.
For what?
Supposedly, the rumor is that he went on 98.5, the Sports Hub here with one of the midday show there, and he was promoting himself, and supposedly that pissed Bill off. And then also the other day I heard he came out on the interview and said, sometimes I don't even understand the game plan. Not a great idea, buddy. Yeah, like I, especially in a Bill Belichick-led team, wouldn't tell them that you don't know the game plan. Not the best idea.
Yeah.
So
okay,
there's that. And also there was that play. There was a couple of plays in the 49ers game where there was one play where he let a running back sift off into the flat, didn't cover him, and then rushed the quarterback, and they got like 30 yards. And then there was another play where Garoppolo kind of flopped, but he was 30 yards away from the play, and he ran into Garoppolo and got that 15-yarder.
Yeah.
He's done some, and his snaps have gone.
Yeah, so maybe it's been an attitude adjustment thing. So should I pencil in your pick for the Jets?
No.
Oh, you paused there. You thought about it.
I am thinking that this could be the first Jets win, but I can't pull myself to do it. I think the Patriots win. Especially, I liked what I saw from the offense in the second half of last week against the Bills. And if Newton doesn't freaking fumble that, they're driving again down the field, and they should have won that game. So yeah. I liked what I saw from the offense.
Much more encouraged by the offense. Yeah.
Yeah, and Myers. Keep going at that first rounder, though. I mean, he's great. He's been catching the ball every week. Man, does he stink. And so Myers, I'm encouraged by, and they got to keep feeding him the ball, hopefully, because he's the only one that can catch it. So I'll take it. And also Damian Harris.
I was going to say, big upside. Damian Harris, whew, he is showing me some. A long line of redshirt Patriot running backs. They do this.
They do it every year.
These guys sit. What is it? What's the magic potion that Ivan Fears feeds those guys for like a year? Because it works. Shane Vereen sat. James White sat. And now I guess Damian Harris, redshirt year. Go ahead.
Yep.
It works.
I would like to see him. I would like to see him in more on pass plays, because the few times he's been there, he's caught it. And man, I just like the way he runs. I don't even care if he gets 2 yards or 10 yards. It looks good. Just the way he runs.
He has a second gear. What do we always say about Sony Michel? He gets to the line. He can get to the line of scrimmage, and he has burst, but then he never breaks away. Yeah. You're always waiting for that, you want 4 yard, 5 yard. If you just want 4 yard, 5 yard every time, you pay a guy like Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis to just carry the ball and never fumble ever, right? But you want a guy who can get to the line of scrimmage and then make a cut and then accelerate and get you 20 yards, right? When it's there. Sony Michel has done that occasionally, but not consistently enough. And he never runs away from guys. Damian Harris made a move and then ran away from a guy and got to the end zone.
Broke a tackle, same play, yeah.
Sony Michel would have gotten tripped up there.
100%.
I just feel.
Unfortunately, yeah.
I agree with you. Patriots defense has got some major personnel issues, but the Jets, Adam Gase is still the coach, right?
Yeah, that's a win by default.
Can't
Yeah.
can't pick against can't pick that guy to win. So I'm picking the Patriots as well.
Yeah.
So that'll do it here for the program here on a Sunday. A little bit of a late start, because we were shook up here at the beginning of the show. Earthquake here in southern Rhode Island. Don't often have that happen. But thank you for those who joined in with us late here on a Sunday. Once again, we're live every Sunday around 11 a.m. for about an hour and a half, 2 hours on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Twitch. You can like, subscribe, and follow on all those platforms to never miss a show. And you can also catch the podcast of the show. Just search for the 360 Sports Show on your favorite podcast app or with our good friends at Sounder FM. Love those guys. So, Christian, go out inside and enjoy this gorgeous afternoon we have.
Spring day, right? Yeah.
It is spring here in New England. So I guess that's a trade-off. The earth has to shake, but we'll get a nice almost 70-degree day. So that'll do it for the program, folks. Thank you for joining. I'm Andy Pizzelli. He's Christian Lauber. Take it easy, everybody.
See you later.